PVC Podcast Crew. Y'all know how we get down. We back at it. Sorry, it's been a few minutes since we got an episode up. I hope y'all caught us on the last episode. It was actually a goodie. We got some good content for y'all today. Excuse me, of course. Don't mind me. We just got some food. You know, kid hungry, tired. Been working a lot. So my boy's been doing the same. But, you know, we're going to definitely give y'all some content. But before we get all the intros and stuff out the way, let me give a shout out to everybody, all 121 subscribers first and foremost. Appreciate each and every one of you. Shout out to our affiliates, of course. Shout out to Dirty Joe. I'm glad you came by to come see me. Shout out to you, of course. Shout out to World Heat Entertainment. You know, keep in mind we got the film coming up pretty shortly. We got that in the box, getting edited out. Be on the lookout for that. Shout out to Jason Lang and the rest of the squad with them as well. And if you're just ducking in, trying to catch and see what we do, like the page. If you want to kind of get a little bit of content before you like the page, wait about 5-10 minutes. Then you can like the page. Anyway, besides all that,
was great.
Besides all that, you know, like we like to do at this time. Let me go ahead and introduce my boys, my squadrons, my mellows. You know how we do. First and foremost, I got my boy Paul. Paul, like always, say what's up to him.
What's up, people? Good morning.
Boy, if you don't speak up.
What's up, peoples? Good morning, everybody. Like Cam said, you know, shout out to all our affiliates and everybody who's involved with us. We do got some good things cracking this year, so just stay tuned and keep rocking with us. Shout out to my boy Jason Lane for doing what he do, man, putting together this project, and shout out to Marcos and everybody else involved with us. Shout out to all 121 subscribers. You know, appreciate all the likes and comments and stuff like that. So, but nevertheless, we're back at the table doing it again. So I'm gonna pass it to my boy Vic. Vic, say what's up.
Oh, good morning, everyone. Good to be back here.
Good morning, class.
Good to be back here in the PVC Podcast Crew. Got my boys Cam and Paul. Today, we're going to be talking about some things that we hope you find interesting.
Let them go. Let them go. You talking. Let the man intro.
I'm sorry, don't mind the giggles, they just ate.
First of all, that's a fact. He ain't lying.
Keep it going, Victor. It wasn't edibles. Anyway, this episode we got some topics that we hope you find enjoyable. We hope you listen to the end, and we hope you leave a like. But as always, you don't have to like us. We just need you to hit that button. You cooperate, we supply. That's all we need.
He sound like the bag bad. Doing the control verse. Y'all know who I be, Cam, aka Nerd Boy Fresh. Follow me on the gram and all that good stuff. You know how we get down. Let's start right here. We're gonna go. Oh, can we go old school for like a little bit? Old school for all the people who used to watch us back in the day. We're gonna do some real old school, but it's leading to a bigger point than something we're gonna get to our first topic. First and foremost, fellas.
Yeah.
What y'all been playing?
Oh, wow. Way old school.
Yeah, we're going to old school. What y'all playing? I know. What y'all playing? We're going to go old school. For all the day ones back there, we're going old school.
You want to go first or you want me to go?
You go ahead.
Lately I've been playing some old school what is it? Not Metal Gear,
Metal Slug?
Honor,
Medal of Honor?
Medal of Honor, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
You
Because you know.
was digging through the crates to go get that one. Okay.
Well, you know.
I know it's on Game Pass. I know, but I still digging through some.
But you know, I'm like, man.
You gotta dig through some games to get to there.
No, because I
that was
was
into the bargain bin.
That's it. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You talking about going in the little dollar bin. You know the clearance.
It brought back some good memories because I used to play that a lot with my brother, God rest his soul. But I was like, yeah. It was still a good game.
Before Call of Duty,
yeah.
Medal of Honor was that one. I'm not going front.
It still was a fun game to play with.
Yeah.
And then I just played the new Sniper 5.
Sniper's cool.
Yeah, I like how this one actually they put a little bit more details on storyline on this one, so pretty good run on that. And then played on MLB.
The new one is good.
Yeah, I like how they upgraded the graphics on this one. So it felt like actually
MLB
sit
The
there.
Show's for real.
Yeah, feel like you actually at the game when you play this game.
MLB The Show's always been a solid as far as like
Well,
sports
first off,
games.
if you're going to talk about MLB, who's your team?
Oh, I'm playing with the Dodgers, baby.
So,
You know, shout out to the Dodgers. They just won the first two. You know,
Yeah,
we ain't gonna mention about that, but
yeah.
but
Oh, so Tiny doing his thing, man. I ain't front.
But other than that, that's all I've been playing.
Hey, Vic, what you been playing?
So, not too long ago, about what?
You said 1987.
Back in 1937, I was playing jacks.
That's basically what it was. Cause you wasn't playing you weren't even playing a board game back in the day. Monopoly wasn't even invented at that time. You ain't lying.
Oh, that was so funny.
But,
I was playing jacks. That was perfect.
but in all seriousness, I got a PS5 a couple months back. The only reason I got it is for a long time I wanted to play Helldivers 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I got that with the console. So it's the only physical video game I own. I've only been using digital for so long, but I've been playing that. It's really enjoyable.
You got PlayStation Plus?
Of course, mandatory.
Okay.
You know, with PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
But
I got PS5 too. You got that? Yeah, keep going. What you been playing?
well, no.
Helldivers 2? I got you.
Helldivers 2. It's been a really fun video game.
Mm-hmm.
On the side of that, I've also been playing a little bit of Space Marine 2 on the Xbox.
Space Marine 2 is always.
How is that? I mean,
It's a lot like Gears of War without cover shooting.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it feels like.
I think iffy on trying to, but
I wait for a sale. Because I would say the campaign's enjoyable.
okay.
Well, online, but the story's cool.
Yeah, I would say wait for a sale. But
Part of the Warhammer series is actually pretty solid.
it's a solid game.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a lot like Gears of War, how it feels, despite not being a cover shooter. But those are the two games I've been rocking mainly. Now I think I know where you're going with this, but
let me get there.
listen, dog, I ain't no milk. I ain't gonna spoil it.
I got you. But let me get there. 2 games I've been playing. Enter the Gungeon. I've been playing like the whole. In my Bulletstorm like independent game run lately. Yeah. I'm in that. No, cause Enter the Gungeon is like one of those little independent, small little shooters. Hard as all get out. It's a roguelike.
Yeah.
That game is hard. You basically gotta play that game co-op if you really want to get somewhere in that game. But it's a fun one. Also want to play the game of the year. I've been playing the game of the year runner-up of last year. Ballarto, whatever that little card game is.
I thought you were gonna say Balenciaga.
Yeah, no. It's like the little poker game that was up for game of the year that really should have won it over Astrobot, but it didn't. I understand why, because it's an independent. It's hard for an independent game to win game of the year, but this game is the real deal. That's one of the things that I was playing. But it leads me to this question, because you said you played your 2 games, and you said you played your 2 games.
Can I add one more game before you go into the thing?
Go ahead.
I did play, and they have it on Game Pass, Crash Bandicoot, but the race car.
Yeah,
ones,
the Crash Bandicoot Racing, CTR, yeah.
That was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, Crash Team Racing, yeah, dope. That's a good one too. So, y'all said y'all games y'all were playing. Let me ask this question. When was the last time y'all played Grand Theft Auto 5?
That has been a real long time. Over 4 years, I think.
Last year, and you said about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That's probably the time that I played Grand Theft Auto 5, to be honest with you. I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago. I haven't played it since. But I do know a lot of people who still play that game. Now, I mean, it's crazy. Because you would think that, this game is, how old is this game, Vic? You would say this game was what?
It's old enough to drink.
Yeah,
2019, you think?
Oh, it's got to be older than that. I want to say, what do you say, 2012, 2013? It's been since the last Grand Theft Auto, since 5 was dropped. I know it doesn't seem like that because that game has been so much of a mainstay.
Think about it. I mean, the online, that's what it's going.
Well, yeah.
Everybody plays, trust me, I played it online. Online offers more, it's fun. And then all the little details and stuff.
Oh, I've always told y'all, and we talked about this before with Grand Theft Auto 5. I always told people Grand Theft Auto 5 is the most complete game you'll play. Facts! for the kids in the back. I'm not saying it's the best game.
That perfectly.
I ain't saying it's the best game. It's the most complete game. It's true. It is the most complete game.
I feel like you need to be on a commercial saying that.
No, because it leads me to what we're going to talk about now.
Another lie, I can work at GameStop.
Because Grand Theft Auto 6 is on the horizon.
Yeah,
You know, most likely to be dropping either October, November, somewhere in that pocket if it doesn't get backed up.
What did you say?
That's
This year?
soon?
Yes,
I
it's
thought
coming.
they pushed it back to 2026.
No, it's
No.
supposed to be this year.
It's this like October, November, if it stays on schedule, which it looks like to be.
Because that one movie is coming. Okay, I knew we were going.
So it's a lot of things working behind that, but one of the stories coming out of Take-Two's and Rockstar's camp is that they're talking like this game's supposed to run $100 for the new Grand Theft Auto 6. You know, $100 is not like, you know, it's $100. There's a lot of things you can do with $100.
That's 1/10 of a rack now.
That's
There's groceries, there's gas.
that could be a
That's
week.
a speeding ticket.
No, yeah, that's a speeding ticket. That's $100 worth of groceries that you could put in. That's $100 of gas that you could put in.
A carton of eggs.
That's probably
It is.
it's an okay date if you know what you're doing.
That's a flash money.
Yeah, I mean it's okay. It's an okay date.
Remember Eddie Murphy?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's that you know.
Do this.
That's that you know, that's that flip it around. Is that big worm money? That big worm money?
You always gotta do this. Every time we talk about money, you gotta pull up.
That's that big.
He act like he the only one.
No, I ain't like that. I ain't like.
You know,
See,
is
this fool throwing out fives. That fool throwing out fives like.
Like you the only one getting
Wait. Hey, you want to do it old school? You want to do a new school style? We can do old school. Wait. For all the old school people, wait. You know how we used to do it? How we used to do it? Big bang, take little bang. Yo, you really want to do this right now? You really want to do this right now?
I ain't mad at that.
You really want to do this?
I ain't mad at
Big
that.
bang, take little bang, man. Put your money on the side. Count that mug out.
Pagan fool.
Yes.
You gonna stop acting like you don't want to get money, alright?
That's what I'm saying.
That 10 in.
That's what I'm saying.
I ain't mad at that one. I ain't mad.
But being that's a bay, Grand Theft Auto is going to be $100.
Well, why is it gonna
What-
be $100? What?
Oh, so think about that. $100. Now, don't get it wrong. Grand Theft Auto is a big budget game. But you can't tell me in good conscience that game, well, is it worth $100? I highly doubt it. But
It better have some great upgraded features on there.
the first question is, and I'll throw it to y'all. Would you be willing to pay $100 for a game? And would you be willing to pay $100 for Grand Theft Auto 6 in particular? Is the question.
Personally,
And it's not dropping on. Let me preface this. It is not dropping on Game Pass, and it's not dropping on PlayStation Plus. At least not out the gate.
L.
no, I
might say.
I'll just say yes.
No, say your answer. Let them go.
Short answer, no. Long answer, nope. But
Good
in all
answer.
seriousness, thug answer, hell no.
Talk that.
Polite answer, no thank you. So, in all seriousness,
Friday answer. Not
athlete. What do you need $100 for?
Stupid. You stupid.
Hey, let me $200. Go ahead.
Keep
That's
going.
why the deluxe edition.
Yeah, but see, that's what we call the conversation piece. But go. Keep going. So,
But in all seriousness, it's just not reasonable. Because I'll admit Grand Theft Auto is a very unique game. Because basically it's a whole bunch of other games crammed into one. right?
Yep.
I can't deny that. I don't think anyone can deny it.
Yep.
I mean, from what we've seen with Grand Theft Auto Online, it's a racing game. It's team deathmatch.
It's a sim.
It's whatever you want it to be. It's
Yep.
like Play-Doh.
Yep.
Pretty much. But $100, it just doesn't seem right. Especially since nowadays the quality of the video games in the industry not being that great. You know, Rockstar, we'll see. I think the sad thing is that even if Grand Theft Auto 6 is just mid, or if it's even just like a little bit better than 5, people are still going to drop that 100 because games are already typically just $70, right? So like, okay, so what's an extra 30, right? I mean, when people look at it that way, what's just $30 more? What, are you broke? Do you not work? You know, where's your money going? You got kids? You divorced? No, but you know.
Or if you divorced, or with kid, or you divorced one of them days, the problem is you probably are dropping $100 because you just like, well, dang, I'm at the house, I can't do nothing.
But in all seriousness,
Go ahead.
but it's just $30 is $30, and that's a giant shit, I can't talk. Price increase.
No, you said it right. It's a heist. But they're trying to fleece y'all.
But the problem is that this is going to justify behavior from other companies, EA, Ubisoft, Activision, and all that. Now, some would say they already do that because Call of Duty already has its Vault editions, which are like $120, right? But they also sell the base version, which is only $70, right? So it's the option, right? But GTA is going to influence that where there will be no option. It'll just be the $100 version. And I think a lot of games are going to try to justify increasing their prices, but not increase quality. Because the quality control nowadays for video games is sorely lackluster. Because games have, for like the last, 15 years, I want to say, have gone in the wrong direction of, chasing graphics over chasing content. Because they want to look pretty, but not be pretty. You know, it's like a beautiful woman with no personality. She's like, gorgeous on the outside, but on the inside, she's like a piece of wood.
Facts.
It's like, what do you like to do? Stuff.
Exactly. The one
that's
who's
just how
pretty
we
with
find
dumb as rocks. Yeah, I got you. I got two questions. For you, and y'all can both answer. First question is this.
Uh-huh.
Think of a game. I don't care what game it is.
Uh-huh.
How many times have you bought DLC for a game?
Shit. I was talking about Helldivers 2 right now, so.
Yeah. So we'll take Helldivers 2. So did you buy the DLC for Helldivers 2?
Okay, so let me break it down real quick.
I'm leading somewhere, but just walk me. Go ahead.
Let's break it down real quick. So yeah, I've been buying DLC for Helldivers 2.
Got it.
Right. Now, mind you, I bought the game for $40 because it was physical, but the money I've spent on it for its DLC, it's slowly crept.
So how much? Would that be? Because
Okay, let me count real quick. 10. Probably close to 100, but that was over time.
see that's and that no. But see But this goes into
$10.
no. This goes into the point of view of how people could justify this number. Because think about this. If you played,
Let me put it this way. All right. Asking for $100 up front is like meeting a girl on Tinder and she wants to get married first date.
no, it's
I invest.
no. It's not that. It's $100 when you taking them out to dinner, and they want to not just buy food for themselves, but get food for their kids, their brother, one of them. Yeah. It's like that. Oh, I need to get a meal, but I want to order a meal to go. It's that. Yeah, who paid for it? Yeah. But what I mean by that is, one of the things that you said was important was you paid for it gradually.
Over time, yeah.
But because the game ultimately,
It was worth it.
it was worth it. but it also was incomplete on purpose, by the way, because that's all DLC is just adding completion to a game. Does that make sense?
That's what we'll tell the woman.
But
Where's your six pack? It's DLC.
right. Because you gotta work certain you gotta work for the tube steak. Can I get some? Squeeze me. Anybody who watched Booty Call would know that.
Thank you so much for sharing, man. I was trying to share with you all night, but
But what I mean by that is, you paid $70 for the game.
Cam, you went there.
You paid. Shut up. You paid $70 for the game, but then you got the downloadable content, but you're paying it in stages, right? But you ultimately paid for Helldivers about $100. So let's say all of that stuff content was all in one package out the gate. Would you have paid $100 if everything that you got now was packaged in initially when the game first came out?
Without any knowledge, probably not.
That's the argument that I make.
Okay, hold on. Can I clarify something right quick?
No.
You ain't worked for the tube steak yet.
Look, y'all got to put me on trial on this. Look. Okay. Now, I see your point of view, what you're saying on a certain thing, but there's one thing that I can comprehend on is that we see this time from time when people were like, okay, I'm like, hey, is this game actually work? Okay, what's the best features? What are they giving? What's gonna make me spend this $100? Is this gonna be game of the year, or is this gonna be something leading to some movie trailer, or what is it? So I think the question is it worth just going ahead and just give the 100 right then up front?
Pause. Good question. Goes into my second question. That goes literally to my second question. Good question, by the way. Second question for you. Think about it.
You are,
No. Yeah, think about this for a second. So think about this. What game in the modern era, or even in the old era, that you thought out of the box was good enough even for $70?
Does it have, wait, can I
What
go?
game?
Maybe like PlayStation 1?
Doesn't matter. What game?
Whatever.
Okay, for me,
What game that was out of the box that was worth the $70 that you will pay?
for me, it was NBA Live 2001.
I can understand that. NBA Live at the
But
time,
back then,
at the peak,
Yeah.
NBA Live out the box was pretty good with it because it didn't have no DLC, no nothing. Yes, I could. That's a solid answer for that era.
Yeah.
Cause that game was $60 at that time in the era.
Yeah.
That kind of makes sense. Go.
For me, it was Titanfall 2.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing with Titanfall 2. It was good enough even at 70. But the game was still incomplete. Remember, they added what? 3 additional pieces of downloadable until they got off of it to do Anthem.
So, no, that's BioWare.
Oh no, not Bioware.
Apex.
That was the game. That's what I meant.
But no, you're right, because the major content they added was Frontier Defense, which wasn't there at launch.
Mm-hmm.
A whole new Titan to the roster,
Yep.
which was something new to the games, which was something new to the franchise, because the previous game they didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So in the next game, Titanfall 2, they added Monarch,
Mm-hmm.
and then they added a gun. It was just a reskin, but it was a new gun.
Right.
You know, so they did add content, but especially a bunch of cosmetic packs. You know,
Yeah.
like paint schemes and whatnot. You
Right.
buy for $5 for like 20 of them.
Right. But I'm talking about like levels,
Okay.
like
Yeah, that's what I said.
storyline, things like that. Yes.
Yeah, like Frontier Defense.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But ultimately, that $70 became what? If you paid for it, 100, 120, maybe 150.
I see where you're going with this, so let me make something up. So, you know how Mortal Kombat was, how popular that was, right? The game or something.
Mhm.
How it first
That's
started.
another
Kombat 1 for Mortal Kombat 1. How much was that? The first Mortal Kombat.
Oh, when the new Mortal Kombat came out, it was like $60 at the time.
But like the original one for like Sega Genesis.
$60 at the
$60.
time.
Okay, so
No
you take
different.
that. Okay, so you take that value right there. Now, from time to time, when they went from Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 3, the prices did increase up because
They went from let me correct. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Allow me to correct that. They were $50 and they moved up to $60 in the PS4, PS5 generation. Let me.
so people will spend that money because they know, okay, new characters is getting made in this Mortal Kombat. So
Well, you're talking, but see, here's the thing. Here's the difference. You're talking about two different games here. Meaning
I know.
that you're going from, let's say you went from Mortal Kombat 10 to Mortal Kombat 11. Each game was like $60, but you're
Yeah.
talking about two different games ultimately. What I'm more so referring to is Call of Duty, but you're going to add 5 multiplayer map packs.
okay.
But no additional story, but there's 5
Okay.
map packs. But that map pack, even though you paid $70 for the game, the map pack alone is going to cost you another $20-$30
So
just for 5 maps.
So
Keep in
if-
mind
so
that they're going to
if-
drop more maps.
yeah, they are.
Yeah, they always do that. It's-
But okay, so nevertheless, would you still spend that much money on?
See,
that?
this goes back to my thing. Is it what game has been? That goes to my what game has been worth it in the modern era. There's only one game that could have potentially been worth it, and it still wasn't worth it until they put the downloadable content together. Well, there's a couple. One being The Witcher 3 in the modern era. Probably people could have justified that being worth it if it would have came out the box with all the DLC and everything. It would have been worth it at that point to spend maybe the extra money. Cyberpunk, if they would have done Cyberpunk right out the box and then added the DLC that they have now to it, and you said, well, this is a $80 or $90 game, but it was that good, you could maybe make a case for it. And even then, I'm gonna tell you right now, most people still wouldn't have paid $80-$90 for it, but you ultimately did pay $80-$90 for it because you got Cyberpunk that you. For all the early adopters who got Cyberpunk, paid the $60, even though it was broken. They fixed it, they patched it, they did all this stuff. They gave you some free stuff in between. But then they dropped that juggernaut of that DLC, which you almost had to play, because it changed the whole scope of the game. It literally changed the story of what that game was supposed to be. It went from being like, you're a mercenary to, well, now you're basically a super spy. Don't get me wrong, which was phenomenal story writing, by the way, from Project Red. I'm gonna give y'all some love on that. But even with that being said, if they would have put that as a package game and said, you're getting this phenomenal game out the box, would you have paid $100? I guarantee you most people would say no. I don't care how good it is. Because like we said at the very beginning, what's $100 to your lifestyle? To a lot of people, that's a pair of shoes. That's that's a decent pair of shoes. I ain't talking some jumps. I ain't talking some Balenciagas. You can get some Jordans for $100 because they're on the cheap. But that's a pair of shoes. That's a decent fit. That's a couple of brims for your hat. That's that's literally for most people who's working class, $100 is like, no, that's 5 meals. Maybe 7 or 8, depending on how you budget, but at least 5 meals. That's $20 a meal.
So
Trust me.
You
Forget the loaf of bread. That's you going to Chipotle and getting yourself a burrito meal. Put some hot sauce on my burrito, baby.
So you're not going to the low budget burritos.
No.
You're going to the classic.
What I mean by that is,
Chipotle is
think about that.
$100.
That's a week's worth of food for most people. That's 2 tanks of gas, $100. The reason why I say that is because people don't equate that in those terms. And think about the people who play think about playing Grand Theft Auto now. Who's on there playing Grand Theft Auto?
Streamers,
Besides the streamers,
children.
a bunch of kids. It's kids. So these kids got to justify to their parents to tell them, Mom, I want this game. How much is it? $100. There's some adults who can't ask their mama for $100 without it being a whole conversation piece. You get $100 for a game?
I was thinking about college.
No, forget that. No, you can't justify that
I made the
too.
money.
You think no? That's the conversation piece because now you're putting it on your parent. You're a teenager. You're 13, 14. You ask your mama to pay $100 for a game. $100 for a game.
But on paper, you're not supposed to even be touching.
Nah, you know I used to hate.
And that's a different conversation.
Nah, you know I used to hate. I used to hate going to the video game store out of my grandmother and my mom because it'd be a game like how you said it won't. It's like, no, I can't believe you better get you one of them $20 ones.
Because for me, I see it all the time. People are making life decisions over. No.
Why you gotta say like decisions, Cam? Oh, but you ain't lying. You ain't lying.
I'm at the store.
Nah,
I work in electronics. I see parents making life decisions. They got a basket full of groceries, and then their kids pull up and see a game. Let's say it's not Grand Theft Auto. Let's say it's Super Mario Wonder, $70. That game's been $70 since it came out. Been got out for 2 years. Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, been out for like since the first Switch came out. Smash Bros. Been out since the second year Switch came out. That game is like 7 years old. Still $60 by the way. Parents are making life decisions like, do I buy my kid this game even though they've been doing good in school and all that stuff, or do I make sure that we have food for the house in a week?
No, you got parents
When he,
But you can't tell your kid that. But these are life decisions. No, you can't. Certain parents. Certain parents, yes. But a lot of parents, no. A lot of parents don't. You want to know why? You don't want to disappoint your kid.
Yeah. I was gonna say that.
You don't want to disappoint your kid. Let's say your kid's been working hard in school. Got straight A's. Normally, under most circumstances, you'd be like, look, I just bite the bullet and just do it. At $50, $60, you could kind of like, I could maybe swing that.
Maybe you did good. You know what?
I'll make the
Mama gonna make it happen.
I'll make the concession because that means that I have to sacrifice. But now you're talking about sacrificing for $100. $100.
The lights might be off, but
in this economy.
In this economy, where gas is a grip, food is a grip, they're charging you extra service fees just because there's tariffs. I mean,
you're making life decisions at the gas.
You're making life decisions to buy a game now.
Give me 30.
And that's the problem. And this is the thing where gaming.
You know, it's all right. You're jiggling.
No.
No, people don't even have regular conversations at the gas station no more.
They don't. They be scared. Because they're looking at the
That's
pump.
what Steve Harvey said.
You're looking at the pump like, dog, if it gets anything above $30, it's a problem. It's problem. But the reason why I say that is because it's difficult to make those type decisions about games. And the game makers put it on themselves because here's the thing, what they do know. Rockstar knows they could put that game at $150.
Yeah.
People are going to still buy it.
Yep.
They could put that game at $200, half the price of a console. And people are going to buy it. That's just how people are. Now, here's my take, and I will remain on this take. I think that Rockstar has priced. If they run with this $100 narrative, they're either going to price themselves out of it, or they're going to price every other game out of being sold.
Well, let me ask you a question. What's the number they gotta reach to make that for them?
What's the budget for them?
What's the budget?
What's the break-even budget? The break-even. Well, here's the thing. For the game's budget,
How much?
let's just say they put.
$6.
No.
It's
Let's just
$6.
say that the budget for the game was
Let me see if I can find it.
15, 20 million.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say 20 million. Well, let's aim higher. Let's say you've had a lot of time, a lot of research changes. Let's say 40 million.
Okay.
Let's say they would sell probably the best-selling game out of day one sold about what 22 million. How much is the budget? How much is the budget?
$2 billion.
Okay, let's take $2 billion. Let's take a $2 billion budget. You know they can make that up day one, right? Even if they sold the game at $60 a pop, they can sell it.
Well, real quick, I should clarify. This is only speculation.
And I don't think it's $2 billion. I think the real answer is probably, let's say the real answer is because
I'm gonna go. I would say probably
I'm gonna
500 million.
500 million is the number, because that's how much it will probably cost from the time that they started, which is about 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago till now. 500 million, and that's high. That's on the high side of things. I don't think it's even that high. I'm just saying that's the number they're going to float out there to try to justify to their budget team to get some stuff done.
Can we get much higher? So high.
Day one, $60 a pop. Day one, they would make that up. You want to know why they would make that up? Because when Call of Duty set the sales record for day one sales, when they cleared 22 million at $60 a pop, they cleared their budget day one. They didn't have to do it. This was a Modern Warfare 3, if I'm not mistaken. It wasn't even 2. It wasn't even the best game. It was Modern Warfare 3, and because they were running so hot, they cleared their sales budget day one.
You know what? That one.
They're going to
the
clear
best one.
They're going to clear their budget no matter what. Them charging the extra $100 is just people them being greedy, just for sake of it makes it look good for their investors. That's the problem I have with it. Is because this game, with that budget, you can make probably 3 Marvel movies out of that budget. I want you to think about that.
Yeah.
$500 million is probably 2 to 3 Marvel movies. It's probably 20 regular movies, 20 top. That's like putting Gladiator, Equalizer 3. What else is good? Wolf of Wall Street. Think about all your top 9 movies, throw them all in the box. I'm just saying that put all those movies' budgets in the box, and it's not going to equate to this one game. Call of Duty's budget is more. Call of Duty's budget for their game is more than most movies. The thing about it is, those games generate so much money that they're going to make that up day one. Here's the other thing. When you think about when you pay $100 for anything, you always think that, am I going to really get $100 worth of gameplay? That's really how I justify anything that I would go out and outright buy that is not necessarily on Game Pass. When I buy a game, and it's been a while since I actually bought a game, how much time am I going to play? Because I always say is, you take how much money you paid, times the times that you, divided by the times that you play the game every day, and that will tell you how much value you're getting out for that game.
Now, I will say this. We've been talking strictly digital content.
Yep.
Video games on the TV, or the console. But the thing is that while $100 for video games sounds expensive, when you look at it from the perspective of those who do more of tabletop miniature games, they're dropping racks left and right.
Yes, it's nothing.
Like, okay, so the most infamous example is the tabletop game Warhammer 40K, right? It's a model miniature game. You know, you buy models, you build them, paint them, and you play, right? A box of models, just basic infantry, right? A box of basic Space Marines, gonna run you like $60, right?
Not including the paint and everything else.
No, not including the paint, just the box.
Yep.
Right? That's on the cheaper side. You
Yep.
want to talk vehicles and stuff, it jumps from the like 150.
Yep.
Right? Like the prices skyrocket.
Yep.
You know, and that's on the tabletop side.
So,
You want to talk about, paints, brushes, they sell everything.
yes.
It's just $100 sounds like a lot, but it is a lot. But when you look at it from like a hobby's miniature tabletop type game, that's nothing. Like people whose main hobby that is, they're dropping more than 100 each time they're going to that store.
Right. So I always think about that. Think of the usage rate. Now those boys who play Warhammer on the desktop, they'll be at the Games Workshop, which is a store, by the way, for all the people who's uninitiated and have been in the back of the class.
There's actually one around here.
Yep. They'll be there literally either every day or every couple of days playing. They ain't playing for no money. Well, sometimes they do. I've seen people play Warhammer for some money. I've seen people play for some money, but I have, they just play just on GP because that's what they like to do. Now, here's how. Can we spin? I'm gonna spin the block just slightly. We're gonna come back to it. Here's how some of the ladies try to justify this stuff.
Here you go.
So the ladies be like, "Why are you sitting at home? Why are you playing this game?" Lady, no, because that's the conversation piece. We ain't going out tonight.
So you spent $100 on this game, but you could
Yes.
$100 on
Here's the thing. I did spend $100 on this game. It's my investment, and I want to get value off of my investment.
So them earrings I can't get.
No, I'm not saying that you can't get it, but here's the problem with I would say no, the justification. Here's the thing about gaming versus a lot of things that people really don't understand. When a lot of people get their downtime and they're like, "Well, I'm at home and I'm just chilling. I'm tired. I just got off work. And let me get my game on for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes." You're getting value for that game that you just bought. That makes sense? Even though you may say, "Oh, I only played it for an hour." But that's you actually getting investment for the money that you popped into it. This is the reason why I would say Game Pass and PlayStation Plus, once they got it situated, it was like a great value because you get a bunch of games that you don't have to necessarily pay $60 a pop for to justify the value for it.
It's literally a digital bargain bin.
Right. So it's cool, and you get a chance to play some new stuff. But when you talk about a game like, but you get some good stuff. No, you do. But when you talk about games like Grand Theft Auto and stuff like that, when you're saying, "Well, I'm gonna pay $100," you gotta get $100 worth of gameplay out of it. And I don't know. Well, there's a lot of people who do get $100 worth of gameplay out of it because they play it every single day, 5 hours, 6 hours a day.
Have you been one of those?
No.
Not for a long time.
No. I'm not that. But here's the other thing. If you look at Twitch, still to this day, one of the highest viewed content outside of the just chatting is Grand Theft Auto 5. You can click on Twitch right now, and it's probably sitting with 25,000 viewers watching somebody play Grand Theft Auto 5. 25,000 right now on the daytime, and half the people's at work or at school, and you still got 25,000 right now. Watching
that's the number one on Twitch.
No,
right
which is watching other people play the game that you should be playing yourself. which is always baffles me, but it's cool. I get it. But I'm just letting y'all know. Y'all got the game. Y'all got the game yourself, but y'all watching other people play instead of y'all playing with them or playing. I never understood that concept, but I kind of do. Like I understand that they're trying to learn something about the game, or if you never played the game, I understand that. But dog, play the game anyway. That just goes into valuing your money. I think that's kind of the lesson in that regard. It's like, look, if you're going to throw money towards anything, I don't care what it is, a lot of times when you hear people, "Well, I just bought these brand new shoes, but I only wore them once." Did you really get the value out of your shoes if you only wore them once?
Some people.
Now, if you wore them once and then you sell them, then that's one thing. Then you did get the value. No. I'm just saying, no, it's important. But a lot of people, they got racks and racks and racks and racks of shoes. They're sitting there, getting paid $100 a piece for them shoes, wore them once.
And now they're collecting.
And now they're collecting dust. Now they're a collector's item that for no value.
I will say this. I think this may spark some outrage, but I'll say this is.
I like the outrage. I'm for it.
Okay, good. So, I think collectors in general, I don't care what you're collecting, ultimately that's a waste of time. Now, I know some say, well, it goes up with value in time, or it means something to me, or that whole spiel, but ultimately I feel like collecting is just a waste, right? Especially when it's stuff like that's meant to be used, like shoes or whatnot, or action figures, they leave in the box and whatnot, like, it goes up in value over time, right? It's just, well, these are products meant to be used, meant to be played with, or meant to, you get the value out of using it. You don't get value from just watching it or just having it sit there and it's like never used. It's just all that. It's just, to me, I see that as the biggest waste. I don't care what you're collecting. It could be like I was just talking about with Warhammer miniatures and whatnot, right? Plethora of on eBay of the resellers, right? People's whole armies, they'll sell them at a loss, mind you, but they'll sell them, and it's just like.
Let me get them. I got it for the kids in the back. Go ahead.
You know, but it's just
where you going.
I just gotta say, there's nothing wrong with you can collect stuff. I'm not saying that's wrong, but I think it's dumb when you do it for monetary value. Right? That's what I'm trying to get at. Collecting for making a profit later is foolish. Collecting because you like something, that's fine.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, no, I got. Can I get it for the kids in the back? This was the whole point. We talked about this last night, but I'm gonna reiterate this point for the kids in the back because we didn't get there.
I see where you going.
Value is only what somebody will pay for it. $100 for Grand Theft Auto 6. Let's say you bought it day one. Oh, I want to sell my Grand Theft Auto 6 week 1 because I already completed it. I'm going to take it back to GameStop, the place that I bought it, to sell it back. How much money are they going to give you for that copy of the game that you just opened and played and is only a week old? You want to know how much?
I know how much.
Against that $100, they're going to give you 50. They're going to give you half. How did Eddie Murphy say? Half!
Well, that's probably less than that.
No, they're going to give you a week-old game, and they will give you a half or a week-old game. And the longer you hold on to it, the depreciation is worse.
And then they can sell it for.
So most people will hold on to that disc copy of the game for a year, year and a half. Well, I played it, now I'm done with it. You try to sell it back, you get $10.
Yep.
For a game that when you bought it day one is $100. People are mad now when they pay a $60 game and they only get $30, $20 for that game. You can imagine what a $100 game is going to look like.
I think the thing is too is people forgot that for the longest time, this whole valuing per hour thing for video games or whatever, this is a fairly recent thing. Video games for most of their existence, they were a boxed product, as in what you got in the box was what you got.
Right.
This whole battle passes, content store, cosmetics,
Yep.
all that. This is all very still recent. It's like maybe almost 10 years,
Roughly.
right? But before it was like, okay, I'll take the first Space Marine game for example. You bought it, you got a cool campaign, you got a decent horde mode, and decent multiplayer. That was it.
Yep.
That's what you bought. That's what you get. Nowadays, when people buy video games, they're expecting, they're gonna add new modes. They're going to add things to it and whatnot. They expect the product they bought to increase in value over time. Right? But that's not how it's been for the longest time, and it's kind of gone unchecked.
So think about this. So you say increase in value. Games never increase in value even with DLC, especially if you have to pay for said content. Think about that. We just talked about Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk, $60 out the box. The DLC is another 30, so you're at $90. And the reason why the DLC had to be there because they had to correct the game. But at least in the correction of the game, they corrected the story and made it a better story. Cool. But now you're $90 in. But you're $90 in on something that you don't get back. You're not getting that $90 back. You bought that game digital on the Xbox store, on the PlayStation store. You ain't getting it back. That $90 is dead. So the value.
Some people will do that, try to do that.
No, but here's the thing. That's dead money to you now. But the value is how much did you play the game? How many hours did you lob in? This is why people get all weirded out about, well, I lobbed in 1,000 hours of the game. Yeah, that means you got the value out of the game. What do you do? But what else were you doing with your life for 1,000 hours? That's kind of a long time to be dropping in on a game. Now, if you said I was just playing I was playing the game for an hour, it took me a couple of months, but I got through it, cool. But that ain't how people play. People play 4, 5, 6, 7 hours at a time trying to justify the value of the game that you ain't getting no monetary kickback for. That's dead money. It's like people who, like I told you, the shoe analogy. People buy shoes, only wear them once, they throw in the closet, they're sitting in boxes, but the boxes sitting in their garage, collecting dust, and all of a sudden they want to sell them, so they go to Cool Kicks, try to flip for it, lose their money, or they realize that their shoes wasn't as good as what they thought they were. Yeah, because your value is only based upon what somebody tells you your value. Your life is only worth what somebody tells you your life is worth. Simple. So people would say that, well, you're broke, you're this. It's a value. So for the one person who may say you ain't about nothing, there's somebody who may think you're everything. See the correlation?
Ultimately, like with everything in life, you determine your own value.
Yes, your value, and your value is perceived by others. So the one person may say that, one person may say, well, y'all ain't about nothing. But other people may say that, dude, you the best thing smoking. So which one is it? Are you trash or are you fire? Are you a trash fire? Are you a trash fire? What is it?